let's get this Thamasa review underway here for this seed. As you know, it's on a scale of 1 to 10 for the characters, 1 being totally useless, and 10 being absolutely essential to our team. And as usual, with the Nurse review, I did them in order of appearance. With the Thamasa review, I've lined them up in order of their ranks. Let's start with number 1. We have Zalbag. Zalbag, we have not used Cure 3 Imp Song at all. It's not worth it. It's not worth sacrificing a relic slot to be immune to Imp to heal our whole party, right? Unless we get a bunch of white capes, which we're going to be running around next episode buying some, because they're hard to come by in the World of Ruin. But where he really comes into play all game has been Magitech. So he's got a 45 magic power stat, which is ridiculous. And he's been hyperdriving everything to oblivion all game. The lack of a magic command is not even consequential because Magitech has so much utility. If he needs to be a healer, he can with Heal Force. That's not a problem. He's got all the elemental beams. He's got Gigavolt, an Atomic Ray. Confuser we haven't really used much. But having Hyperdrive is ridiculous. It's one of the best moves in the game. And it's just power overwhelming. And we've had it since the beginning. Zalbag is the leader of this group for a very good reason. Because he is a solid 10. He is what every other character in this game should aspire to be, as far as damage output. So, Zalbag, easily a 10. Moving on. One of our newest characters, Merchant. This is the first time in any seed I've ever run where I have 2 characters who are 10s. Merchant gets a perfect score of a 10 as well. When you look at everything he has, a 48 magic power stat, which is better than Zalbag's magic power stat. He's got Flare as a command, which is non-elemental damage and the strongest single target spell in the game, right? So, Flare is just ridiculous, and I hate to keep using that word ridiculous, but that is how I would describe these last few characters I got. He's got X-Magic right now. He can only cast Warp, because he doesn't have an Esper he can equip, but as the game goes on, either he'll be able to equip more Espers, or we'll have items that are teaching us decent spells, so X-Magic will come into play eventually. Our Blitz, as well, not ever really something you want to do over Flare, but if you want to throw it out for shits and giggles, you can, and you might roll something pretty good out of it, like a Bum Rush or an Air Blade or Fire Dance. If you want to get some AoE, Air Blade and Fire Dance would help a lot. But, no, just all around this character is very good. It is an X-Magic command, number 1, which already bumps you up in my ratings. And then you have Flare just there for free to cast forever. Yeah, Merchant is a 10. We're glad to have him. He's going to make a lot of money with us. Alright. Here's the thing about Chance, okay? Chancellor, the reason why he's so highly rated is because he's just the first 2 characters whenever he wants to be. That's it. So he's an 8. I call him an 8 because he's got a lower magic power stat than the other 2. Like, that really doesn't matter, but it kind of does. He's got a magic command, nothing really fantastic in there that he's gotten yet. But just having Mimic and just being able to do a Flare or Hyperdrive anytime he wants, you know, that makes him really good. The only reason he's an 8 is because of, again, the lower magic power stat than the other 2, and that he has to depend on the other characters to be that good, right? So if I don't have those 2 characters at all, or any other really good character, Chance isn't really that great, right? Like we saw in his fight with the leader, he really couldn't do anything. But, yeah, he's an 8 because he's good, but he dropped a couple of points because he requires other good characters to be around. But as long as we have those characters, he's freaking amazing. So, Chancellor, looking pretty good. Okay, these 2 characters are tied, for very good reason, right? So, Blank has a 49 magic power stat, really, really good. Ice 2 is a command, I haven't used it yet. It's not really worth it when you have the command W Shrapnel, right? 2 casting of Shrapnel, really good damage output. He's not really utility in a lot of ways. He's got an item command, but no magic command. So he's kind of limited in what he can do, right? He has that damage output, but we have damage output. We have a lot of that. So he kind of drops down just simply for the fact that we have overwhelming power right now, and we need someone to fill different roles on our team besides just doing damage, right? So Blank, as awesome as he is, and how much I loved him from FF9, my favorite of the Tantalus crew, kind of falls to the wayside a little bit, but not enough to make him bad. So Blank is a 7, right? Blank's pretty dang good. And moving on to Edward, who is also a 7, because he's tied. This is another reason why. Okay, so his magic power stat, not great. Saber Soul is very limited in its uses. However, when it's not limited in its uses, it's an instant kill whenever we want on a single enemy, right? The reason that he is a 7 is because he can equip an Esper that's teaching him Cure 3. That's healing, and we don't have a lot of that. That's really what bumped him up. So, that being said, again, he's got limited uses with Saber Soul. It's a cool skill, but yeah, he's useless and useful at the same time. So he's also a 7 right alongside of Blank. These two are tied. Now, I never thought in a million years that I would be rating a team of characters where Edward was stronger than Goku. He's a stronger character than Goku. I wouldn't say he's stronger, I'd just say he's more useful than Goku. So let's take a look at Goku here. He's got Demi Elfire as a command, which would kind of be useful in niche situations. I mean, if something can be demied, that's kind of helpful. Elfire is not the worst damaging move. Where he's really good is being able to throw Clean Sweep for AoE, because despite, despite Zalbag's Gigavolt and stuff like that, and being able to throw that on a lot of enemies at once, we don't have a lot of AoE that's just there for us to use, right? We have single target big damage stuff. Besides, Blank's W Shrapnel, which you can multi-target. But Clean Sweep's pretty good. It's not the worst. And it is Goku, so I couldn't throw him any lower than this, just for that fact. I'll be a little biased there. But I was really excited about this character. I'm still glad we got him, but he's just not that great. He does have a magic command, so depending on the Espers he can equip later, he might be really good. As of right now, he's not that useful. But he is cool, and I would put him right around the same, almost as good as Edward, not quite as bad as these guys. So, yeah, he is a 6. I would put him at a 6, right below Edward and Blank at their 7s, right? Okay, so, moving on to Leo. Leo and Lone Wolf, who are also tied. There's a lot of ties going on here. I mean, these two characters were tied, these two characters are tied, and now these two. So Leo... Okay, so Leo has AoE as well, with Flash Rain Antlion, or Flantle, as I call it. Reflect ? Not that good. He can equip a relic to turn Reflect ? Into Jump, so that's a little bit of extra utility he gets, but that's not enough to bump him up too high. Flantle, though, I mean, he's hitting everything with Flash Rain, which, by the way, I learned is actually Ice-Water element. It is not Lightning. And that's doing decent enough damage. Not crazy good, because his magic power stat's crap. But, he also has a magic command, so he could be better later. He's returning for another seed, obviously. He's definitely better than his previous iteration with our bio. That I can say for certain. But in this seed, compared to the rest of the characters, he's not incredibly impressive. So he is sitting at a 5. Just straight up just a 5 for right down the middle of the road. Not terrible, but really not great. So, yeah, a 5. And then we have Lone Wolf, who is also a 5. For all the same reasons I just described, right? He's pretty much exactly like Leo. He's got an AoE attack, he's got a 29 magic power stat, and he's returning for another seed also. So, he's definitely better than his previous iteration, I think. Because that previous Lone Wolf learned Ultima, got to throw it once and died. And his other skills weren't that great. I think it was R-Tech and R-Beast. R-Beast, that's what it was. So R-Tech was okay, but it wasn't reliable. Aqua Rake is just reliable AoE. And as far as his magic command goes, I haven't really checked that much what he can equip as far as espers, but with a magic power stat of 29, you're not going to be throwing down phenomenal numbers. You know, nothing compared to hyperdrive and flare. So he is also sitting at a 5 right next to Leo. They are tied. Okay, moving on to Biggs. I actually really like Biggs from Final Fantasy VII. He is a cool character. Actually, my favorite of Avalanche, too. If it's not him, it's Jesse. But anyway, Biggs is cool. But this time, he kind of got the hammer of not being that good. Like, Corinne is a low-level Esper. All it does is give us regen. Granted, it has helped a little bit in some fights just to have regen on. But for the most part, he's just kind of there. He doesn't have anything phenomenal that makes me want to give him a higher rating. That could change with whatever espers he can equip in the future, obviously, you know, ad nauseum for every character with a magic command. But he's just kind of there. He's not that great. So I would rate him at a 4, probably, or 3. Probably a 3, actually. I'd put him down at a 3. So, moving on, we got Zack. It's a shame, but he's not that great. Again, cursed with the 29 magic power stat. He has his covered wagon skill, the tent van, which is tentacle and vanish. The problem with that move, which we found out in the sealed cave when we tried to use it, was it hits everyone. So it's going to tentacle every single person, and then it's going to vanish one person, right? So the targeting there is not that good at all, and we'll never use that skill. So anyone with a unique skill that we can't use, I'm instantly going to give a bad rating, right? And again, magic command, espers, who knows? But as of right now, poor Zack, even though he's way cooler than Cloud, and always will be, is sitting at a 2. For very obvious reasons. He's not that useful. Coolness factor, he's pretty cool, but 2 for him, easily. Okay, now we got Sid. Sid is awful. Sid is the worst character we've gotten. Sid is terrible. I hate Sid. He's got morph, whatever. We've used it a couple of times just to get a little bit of extra damage out of his shuriken throwing. But yeah, Lullaby, Lagomorph, all the same problems that I mentioned in the Nurse review. If we do it to the enemy, it's going to put him to sleep and then heal him with Lagomorph. If we do it to us, it's going to put us to sleep and heal us with Lagomorph. With some of the worst healing, it's already one of the worst healing abilities in the game because it only heals you for like double digits anyway. And then you take Sid's magic power stat of 17, and even if he's getting magic from espers, a 17 magic power stat equals bullcrap. Like nothing. So, Sid, just wow. Just wow, Sid. You are a huge disappointment. So, he's easily a 1, if not a 0. Alright, that being said, talking about the seed a little bit. The seed has been cool. At first, I was not, like I said, I was lukewarm on the characters. And I was considering, like, maybe I shouldn't even continue this one because it's not that fun. There's no characters that I'm really super interested in, you know, besides Zalbag. And the more and more I went on with the seed and got more characters, like Goku really solidified it. When I got Goku, I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep going. This is worth it. And then getting to Thamasa and getting Merch and Blank, it's just been great since we got Goku, right? So, as far as the challenge, there is no challenge. I mean, when you're rolling something like Hyperdrive on your main character, there's no challenge. Then you roll something like Flare. I think we beat Ultros in 6 turns total. 3 to bring Realm, or 3 to bring Blank into the fight, and then like 3 after that. It was like a Hyperdrive, Flare, Hyperdrive, and it was over, right? So there's not really any challenge here. There's obviously a lot of things that can get in our way in the future. You know, Atma could be a pain, that kind of stuff. We haven't leveled quite as much as we normally do in these runs, just because we've been able to wreck everything anyway. I'm not really worried about walking around and getting in fights. But, yeah, the seed hasn't been challenging yet. We're going to go to the World of Ruin, obviously. And, you know, we might have a little bit of a rough time considering the characters we're going to be stuck with in the beginning of the World of Ruin, actually, because we are definitely stuck with Leo because he sells, right? So that's our starting character in the World of Ruin. We don't know who's going to be at the collapsing house, but that's neither here nor there. We'll find that out in due time. And then we're going to get Edward in the Figaro Castle. And after that, we get Goku at Kalingen. So those three characters should be okay, but we could run into a problem with dual hand just like we did last game. And depending on who's at the collapsing house, we might be really upset. Like, it could be Sid. But either way, I'm kind of excited about the World of Ruin. It's obviously going to be fun. It's always fun when you continue a seed that you're actually interested in. Like I said, this one I almost didn't want to go, and then all this stuff happened, and it's like, dude, I've got all these awesome characters now. I gotta go, right? So, that being said, the seed's been pretty fun. At least for the past couple of episodes. Leading up to it, it was kind of like, well, we're slogging through just to slog through. But now I'm invested, dude. I'm invested in the characters. You know, we've got all of our misfits down here that are never going to be good, no matter how much they try to impress Zalbag. But he's kind of got faith in them. Maybe they'll prove themselves in the World of Ruin. Maybe we won't get Zalbag early, and they'll have to track him down and everything. But either way, yeah, that's the Thamasa review, and that's gonna be it. Until next time, I guess I'll see you then. Peace.